Talk. Them say that Mayegun, that man too they talk. He do they talk. Say Mayegun diary, he dey hot like pepper. But every day then they take money in bulk. Woman picking they the street they hawk. Still them talk say make we no talk. But thank God say Mayegun don't come. So my people make you laugh. Oh yo yo, Mayegun don't come. Oh yo yo, my people make you shout. Oh yo yo, Mayegun don't come. Man of the masses.
Hello there.
I'm a do.
Good morning to you, good afternoon to you, and good evening to you from wherever you are watching from. This is Mayegun Live. The doctor said, or the dentist said, I've got, an amazing teeth and then great gum as well. That there was no reason for pulling any teeth yet. However, what I suffered from was an inflammation. It's like my gum got irritated and they're swollen. And that reaction gave me that kind of headache and all that. I think I'm fine.
Godfather is
Share this broadcast. Invite your friends. Invite your not so friendly friends. Tell them Mayegun today. If you are a newcomer on Mayegun's Diary Political and you happen to be watching the broadcast, as a replay, I advise you to skip this beginning, okay? Don't get kind of bored and don't tell us that the beginning takes too long because Mayegun's Diary Political broadcast are done live. It's not something that I recorded and then stream later. Sure you get. So why we are here is more or less like a sermon, like everybody is taking their seat right now, waiting for others. Then when we will start. So if you're watching a replay, the ideal thing is fast forward all of this to at least where you think you can watch from. So you share the broadcast, by the way. Subsidy is back. NNPC is taking a loan that they want to use to stabilize the Naira. Are you seeing what I am seeing? Share the broadcast. Motideo. So good morning once again, good afternoon, and good evening to you. Depends on the time you are watching from, okay? You see this broadcast you are about to watch, it is layman to layman explanation. If you really want to understand the fraud that these guys are recooking, and they will continue to give it different names, you will need to abandon all of their paid media vuvuzelas, propagandists, bunch of liars that will tell you everything is going to be fine. You will need to abandon all of that. If you are an economist, you are somebody who deal with money a lot. In fact, you understand this subject so much. If you really want to enjoy this, I will advise you to drop all of that, because now layman to layman, we won't take talk now. If you find me repeating myself, it's because I'm going to be like that blacksmith. You know, when a blacksmith is eating, what do you call it? A heated iron at a spot, like on a single spot, pa, 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 there is a sign he wants to get rid of. So don't get cocky, or don't get, you know, a little bit pushy, because what is about to hit Nigeria, if I have the better way to explain it to you, it will be this way. Now, when Bokuwari, you know why I kind of love to revisit Bokuwari and some of the same GPT, the same fraud that they perpetuated when they started. I was raising alarm. Why are you enemy of Nigeria? Why do you always, why are you somebody who doesn't even believe that anything good can come out of Nigeria? At least I want to believe that a lot of people will be happy when good things actually come out of Nigeria. But when criminals are cooking, and you know the consequences of what they are cooking, if you love Nigeria, you will speak out, because the consequences of all of what they are doing is lives, human lives, your lives, including my life. So, and that was when Bokuwari, when he came in, he also said he was removing subsidy in 2016. Now, removing subsidy means Nigeria will save money. Then the wahala started, like this one you're experiencing right now. No, 87 naira to 160 naira. No, we no go agree. We no like all this, But it was the era of change, right? So some people felt like it would be a sacrifice that was worth it. By the time Bokuwari ended his, what do you call it? His jihadist regime, Nigerians have forgotten that Bokuwari removed subsidy in Nigeria 4 times. A lot of them have forgotten. 4 times. And on the 4 occasions, that was what brought your price to 180 something naira per liter. But they've forgotten. It was like, they will scream, cry, everybody complain and all of that. And then after that, let's give them time. This was Bokuwari's time. And before their time at all, subsidy in Nigeria, they used to pay 200 billion, 400 billion a year for subsidy before these criminals came. Now, under them, they removed subsidy 4 times. Go and search subsidy remover from 2015. Go and check it on Google right now. 4 times. An excuse to say, we are saving money. Bokuwari have saved 1 trillion naira. We have saved 1.4 trillion from subsidy removal. All lies. Now, the other thing that changed on the issue of subsidy scam is this, under these criminals. Before Bokuwari, there were some privileged rogues in collusion with those who were working under PDP at the time. And those ones were called oil marketers. What was that? Nigeria will ship out their crude oil for sale. Then Nigeria will now go to that same place and buy the refined crude to import back into Nigeria. So the scam then was that the marketers who will bring in their petrol will say, our landing cost is 400 naira per liter. Okay? We'll say, 400 naira per liter. The government will then say, no, we will pay 313 naira per liter on each liter. so that you can sell it to Nigerians for 87 naira per liter. That was what the subsidy was. 200 billion, 400 billion, 700 billion, until it became an issue when Jonathan said he wanted to remove it. These were those individuals benefiting the money then. So the scam then was those marketers in collusion with NNPC officials, or is it the DPR, whatever, NNPC guys, that would then have to go and inspect the imported products. How many liters? What is the quality, quantity, like that, so that they can then pay them the difference as the subsidy on each imported vessel. That was the arrangement. So the scam then was, when they bring in 10 million liters, they were escalated to 20 million, 30 million. That extra, when the government paid the subsidy to them, they will share that with the officials of the petroleum NNPC. So that was what Jonathan said he wanted to remove at the time. That caused the 2012 national protest sponsored by Tinubu. I mean, it would have been a genuine kind of protest. I'd be, why would you remove it? No, leave it. But when APC, Egbekegbe, came in 2015, you know what they did? Around that time, these marketers, they were, the body odor of Bokuwari. They didn't know how he was going to, So a majority of them started hoarding their own products if they were going to still get the same juicy offer of importing fuel, collecting subsidy, and then diverting the fuel to neighboring countries. Because it was a deal that was so lucrative. Everything is about number. Whatever is written on paper, they will pay them. So they waited. But by that time, Bokuwari reshuffled the NNPC. Okay? Nigeria Naira was already experiencing some little round tripping from central bank, Naira to dollar. To import fuel to Nigeria, you need dollars. So what that means is this. When the business was good for the oil marketers, then, that wasn't a problem. Whatever the cost, the deal with the Nigerian government subsidy was that they will be paid. So Nigeria was bearing the fraud. So the moment Bokuwari and gang came in, they cut off all the marketers. NNPC became the sole importer of petrol. So me, Mayegun, I can be importing fuel into Nigeria. Okay, but you will not see Mayegun. You will see NNPC. So NNPC became the sole importer. But here is the difference. If those marketers continued with the way Naira and dollar was going, there was no way you will not buy a liter of petrol for 1,500 Naira at a point. Okay? So, behind the scene, it was supposed to be so controlled. Now that NNPC is in charge, they are the ones who can now say, if you import, is in our name, and all of that stuff. The fraud under the Mr. Corruption Fighter should have ordinarily controlled, Abi. Rather than that, it opened the floodgates of never seen corruption in the oil industry in Nigeria. And that is now catching up. Like I said, I am going to talk to you like a layman, Neil, and I may be going here and there. Just be following me. Make you say, okay. Now, you see, the fraud that happened was that normally, when central bank, when this NNPC says we have received 30 million liters and we need to pay out the subsidy of 1 trillion naira, okay, to be equivalent of whatever it cost them in dollars. So central bank will be the one to open the NNPC account, a Nigeria Vault account, wherever they keep the money, and then pay those marketers. That was supposed to be the arrangement, When this NNPC came, nobody knows who was bringing or wherever they are bringing the whatever from. What Nigerians were just reading is that subsidy payment 1 trillion, subsidy payment 2 trillion, subsidy payment 3 trillion a year, subsidy payment 4.5 trillion a year. That was when they were like, who are you paying that money to? At least NNPC is now making the payment. Emefiole is providing the fund, Abi. Under these guys as well, the revenue which should have ordinarily fetched Nigeria the Forex, at least seamlessly, if there was no corruption, the Nigerian crude oil export and sale. Under these rogues, Nigeria's oil production dwindled by over 48%. Nigeria was losing 48% of our oil to oil thieves who are bringing in vessels to Nigeria to load them off. So there was no money. The little money coming from the little one they declared, the oil they sold, Abi, they were using that to pay faceless marketers that NNPC is paying for subsidy so that you could be buying the petrol for 167 Naira. Remember that the money from crude oil sale dwindled because thieves were stealing them. The little that was left, they have opened another floodgate to pay faceless people trillions of Naira, that's billions of dollars in subsidy payments that nobody knows who for 8 years. So there was no money from crude oil sale. The money that they managed to say is available is not enough to pay for subsidy. Who came to the rescue? Emefiole, who started printing money to cover because what would have happened is this: if Emefiole didn't print 24 trillion Naira for Bokwari to share, what would have happened is, at least by 2017, 2018, Nigeria would have collapsed in a way that most of those states will no longer be able to receive allocation. Because there will be no money. Remember when NNPC, when they said NNPC didn't remit money for more than 2.5 years, nobody raised a wimp. The same guys who cooked all of this together, okay, Nigeria have no Forex to back up anything anymore, right? And Nigeria have no money. NNPC, towards the end of Bokwari's term, they now cooked another Babala fraud. What did they do? They started flying Dangote refinery to cover the ignorant eyes of majority of Nigerians at the time. Oh, when Dangote refinery comes, it's going to crash dollar, strengthen Naira. They even made a deal whereby they will be selling Dangote Nigeria crude oil in Naira instead of that dollar. A part of the lies they sold. Finally, they sold NNPC to themselves, appointed themselves as board of directors. The same guys employed, appointed by Nigeria, by Bokwari as director and this and that in NNPC. They sold the place. They now gave Nigeria. They said Nigeria and call as 40% interest in that NNPLC. Just to cover all this track, but here is the truth. Nigeria is cash crunched. Naira is completely broken because the demand for dollar is more than the demand for Naira. Naira has nothing to back it anymore. It's been like that for a while. Emefiole that has been printing money, flooding them with money and money, Naira, has created an economy of over 50% inflation. But they are telling you that it's 24%. But now your pocket, you go, no, what is that inflation? And what is the, what do you call it? What is the gravity of that invitation in your pocket when your 1,000 Naira has lost over 40% of its value? So what then is the inflation of 24%? May I explain that one to you before I continue on the new fraud, new package that they are now trying to sell to you. It's not new. They did the same thing during the Bokwari's time. It's not new. But here it is. The fraud, in fact, I'm going to actually explain that 40% loss of value in Naira. And I'm being generous. Okay. So let's say in 2015, right? You could buy a crate of egg. Is it 24 or 30 crate of egg? You could get that for how much? 700 Naira or 750 Naira in 2015. So how much does that same crate of egg goes for today? 1,005. What? 2,000 Naira. Well, the idea there is this. If you had 1,000 Naira in 2015, you could buy yourself a crate of egg, buy oil, buy bread, and maybe get some fresh vegetables like, the potatoes and all of that. I mean, sorry, like tomatoes and all of them. Somebody said 2,500, 2,300. Now, if it was less than 700 in 2015, and today is 2,500, so it means the 1,000 Naira you had in 2015, you will need 2.5 of that, okay, to buy a crate of egg that you would buy back then, and you will still get a change. That is what is called the devaluation. The devaluation, for example, as well, is that if you have, for example, if you have 1 million Naira in your bank account, for example, right, in 2015, if you converted that 1 million Naira to dollars in 2015, okay, that would be something around, 1 million Naira should be about 5,000 US dollars, okay, at the exchange rate of, exchange of a 190 Naira or 200 Naira to a dollar. So that should give you about 5,000 US dollars, Abi. Now, if you had 5,000 US dollars in 2015 and you had 1 million Naira in 2015, today, that's your 1 million Naira. If you have 1 million Naira today, that 1 million Naira is just $1,080. Do you understand the devaluation example there now? Yeah. Now, you putting it beside dollar is so easy and direct to understand. Now, if you take that 1 million Naira to the market today, what that means is that by the time you come back with what you have purchased with that 1 million Naira, you are likely going to see that, the value of that same thing or similar thing shouldn't be probably more than 500,000 Naira. Now, if the inflation on dollars will keep $5,000, still $5,000, maybe with plus or minus your $5,000 in 2015 with the inflation and all of that, let's say you have lost maybe 20% of, let's say 10% of that. So if you have lost 10% of your $5,000 from 2015 to 2023, that's going to be somewhere around, or even let's say 20%, right? That's going to be like you've lost $1,000. You will still have $4,000. Compared to the Naira, that you had 1 million, that could be 5 grand in 2015, and today is just 1,100. And it's the same thing if you go out there to spend that 1 million Naira. A lot of you have your money in your bank. Nobody say you are trading on anything, but the value of that money in the bank has so depreciated that those who are in business will understand this better. Okay? Now, you see all these oil marketers. When Tinubu came in and said, subsidy was gone, everyone felt like, okay, maybe he knew what he was talking about. There must be something they delivered, they gave to him, handover notes from Bokuwari that he probably have studied for those months when he was waiting to be sworn, to be sworn in. That he must probably have been, his team must have been reading the whole thing, looking at what this is going to be and what are we going to do and how soon are we going to respond? What are we going to, you know what I mean? Like, they didn't do that. He just came out and he said subsidy is gone. Now, saying subsidy is gone simply means if you are buying petrol at 1,000 naira per liter, or you are buying it for 300 naira per liter, it is no longer the business of government of Nigeria. Do you understand? When somebody says subsidy is gone, what that simply means legally is that if I have money, I can decide to go abroad, okay, and go and buy petrol and bring it to Nigeria and sell it for whatever price that will profit me. The role of government is to make sure that I am not like profiting illegally, like, you know what I mean? Like, for example, putting unimaginable profits on that. That's the job of government, to control that and ensure that people are not being ripped off. Sure, you get? That's the normal thing. But here is the problem. Like so many businesses in Nigeria, in the last 8 years under this APC, people who don't give a damn, they don't know how to create wealth. All they are very good at is to steal and kill and burn and destroy. They have no idea of how to create any wealth, right? So what they have done in this instance is that NNPC, that kind of said, okay, yeah, we have handoff. Okay. Now the businessmen, or should I call them the supposed importers, they will also need dollars in order for them to pay for the petrol they will bring to Nigeria, since subsidy is gone. That is where the problem is. Remember that for 8 years, nobody knew who the NNPC, who they were using to import fuel to Nigeria, Abi? But they were paying them subsidy in trillions of naira. Okay? So, but because you, Nigerians, are the ones bearing the cost, okay? When they go borrowing, you go sorrowing. So they give the money to themselves, they give the money to their friends and the rest of them, and they call it controlled pricing. So when they can no longer sustain that anymore, they are now saying, okay, subsidy is gone. Everybody should. But the problem is, how do those marketers access their dollars in order to be able to pay for their supply when nobody can actually be so sure what the exchange rate is going to be tomorrow morning? I mean, it's so bad that Tinubu's Shonubi, or what's that man's name? And CBN Central, the person that is replacing Emefiole, he came out and he said they are floating the Naira. With what? With water. What are you floating it with? Nigeria, a supposed economy of over 400 billion US dollars, currently is sinking in the failure of APC. So if you wanted to float the Naira, so what you are doing is that, it simply means, if wherever you see dollar, buy them. Here you get, anybody will get dollar, sell them. That very soon, when everybody have the dollars, the price of dollar will begin to crash. That those who are keeping their dollar, let them sell it for any price, 800. So they now told their mugus, with the help of all of their economic propagandists, they told them, they said, it will first go up, then later it will come down. When more dollars, because Tinubu's government is going to save money from subsidy. And because of that, Tinubu's government is going to pump dollars into the market. So their plan, I think I have told you that before, their plan was, they were hoping that somehow, in 2 months, they will be able to mop together some billions of dollars. That will be like cash. Remember I told you, the criminals who destroyed NNPC, destroyed the Nigeria oil sector, open it up for fraud and for criminals who are stealing your crude oil for 8 years. The criminals are still in charge, yo. They are still the ones in NNPC, yo. Are you with me? Meaning, Nigeria is still not making money from our own crude oil right now. For 2 months, they were initially they were like, don't worry. What will happen is this: we'll wait for 2 months. Okay. So the money we make from once we have told people that no more subsidy, we are not paying anybody subsidy anymore. Okay. So in 2 months, we may be able to get at least $1 billion to $1.5 billion. So after that 2 months, we will now pump the dollar into the market. So you see all those dollars, they expect them to go into the hands of the desperate oil marketers. So when they have dollars, if it's stable, if the dollar is stable, the oil marketers can say, okay, they are going to buy the petrol to bring to Nigeria at this also exchange rate. So between going and coming, the dollar won't change. How do you determine that? By pumping more dollars into the economy. But in the case of Nigeria, Pafuka, no dollar, no nothing. So the 2 months that they told you to wait, and then, the subsidy is gone, it's not coming back, was them planning to subsidize their friends, give them this money, okay? Assure them that if they want to import fuel to Nigeria, don't worry, others can be buying the dollar for 1,000 naira to $1, 1,500 naira to £1. But if you are oil marketer, our friend, will give you the money. Come and change it for 300 naira to $1. Now, this is one of the most dubious criminal arrangements. It was like, listen, the value of Naira today is over 900 Naira. Abi? That is the real value. So when it sinks further, that is also the real value. The more they continue to play gamble with it, the Naira will what? It will sink further. That is the value. So what they are now planning to do is that you have $3 billion. For example, $3 billion. If you exchange it for its real value, especially the people who are giving you the money, the value of it, share you get now, is going to be based on the devalued Naira that you have. So you have $3 billion, for example, at the rate of, let's say, 2.1 trillion Naira. Now, you now decided to call your friends who are going to be oil marketers. You now call them and say, come, you can come and buy the dollar for 300 Naira per dollar. So the government of Nigeria and the people of Nigeria, they can bear the cost, the difference. Remember, the value of Naira to dollar is, let's say, 900 Naira. What they are doing right now, what they were planning to do, but the money, they add up. Now they have decided to go and take loan. Listen to me, NNPC. If you stop paying subsidy and the money you are making from the oil sale that you are using for subsidy, if we stop paying for 2 months, how much can you bring together? And Mr. President, we can try maybe 1 billion or 2 billion, but we can try. So that was why they were explaining to you to wait. The 2 months has passed now. They didn't see dollars from the crude oil sale, okay? That they can say, this is the cash, let's push it and follow that agenda when the money is not coming to the banks as some of you are expecting. No. The plan was they will call their friends and sell it cheaper to them. You now see that difference of 600 Naira per dollar. Multiply 600 Naira times 3 billion. Go and add it up right now. 600 Naira times 3 billion. Now, when you do that, that should give you over, at least, that should give you at least, 6 times 3, 18. 1.8 trillion Naira. Now, that means the 1.8 trillion Naira is going to be hidden from you. That is the subsidy they will pay to their friends who are the oil marketers. Now, the plan was, if we have a 3 billion and we give it to them little by little, that can make it look like the dollar to Naira in Nigeria suddenly have stayed at 700 Naira. It can stay there maybe for a month, maybe 2 months. Once the dollar they put there, once that one finish, I mean, I will be surprised if it lasts for 2 months. Oh. Once that dollar finish, otuya, ere egele, oye, otun lo niyen o. Dollar to naira, 800, 900, 1,000, 1,002. This is the gamble they are playing with all of you who don't see the damage politics does to you beyond Yoruba Ronu. I'm a Igbo, I'm a Hausa, I'm a Fulani, I'm Kinikon. You don't see the damages they really do to you. So they've made an announcement today. Guess who made the announcement? NNPC. NNPC Nigeria that couldn't provide the $1 billion needed by Kolu that they thought they were going to use. Since the NNPC couldn't provide it, they have found a bank. They call them Afreximu, African Exit and Export and Import Banking. Afreximu. You know the deal. NNPC will give the Afreximu. We don't know those behind them. Afrexim will give Nigeria $3 billion cash. Okay? $3 billion cash. They will give it to Nigeria. Now, in that deal, Nigeria, through NNPC, that they have already privatized, Nigeria will now give crude oil to Afrexim. Nobody knows how much crude oil, how many years crude oil, at what price crude oil. What is the interest rate on this 3 billion? Like I told you, since NNPC, from the crude oil sale, they couldn't give any dollar. NNPC is now taking pictures. We want to control the dollar so that when the marketers, when the dollar is stabilized, Naira will stabilize. Then oil marketers, they can have access to dollars. So the price of petrol will begin to go down. The new Bobo, the new Zobo. Koye, like I told you, layman to layman. Who are those who are going to be the marketers that will be collecting this money from NNPC? Other than the same people who have been sharing your Nigeria. These guys are mad, though. They are really, they are so heartless. Oh. You don't understand. Half of Nigeria crude oil production every day is being stolen. The remaining half, they are using it to pay for subsidy. To cover all of that up, Emefiole is printing money in Naira. The money is being shared as allocation to local government, to states for years. And those ones are using the money to buy any available dollar in the circulation. When they collect the allocation from Naira, from Emefiole, they go around, they buy any dollar they can buy, and they move them out of Nigeria. Those who are running businesses, oh dear, like they are so heartless. Oh. And you know one thing about this whole thing is that nobody is spared. Businesses will die. Jobs will be lost. Taxes that should help government to raise revenue will be lost. Crime will increase. So who is now surprised that crime is increasing in Nigeria? It is a ripple effect. This is how the whole thing comes down to you. Even if they're now selling petrol for 300 naira per liter in Nigeria today, a lot of Nigerians have become so poor. They cannot afford it. They can't. If they begin to give all Nigerians 50,000 naira, the poor Nigerians, 50,000 naira every month, they cannot be out of poverty with the damages these guys have done, and they are still doing. So do you see the trick now? They said the price of petrol will not increase again. How? Like, you are not importing petrol, okay? You are not paying subsidy. Like, who the hell are you to say the price of petrol will not increase or it will decrease? You don't even have that control, because they do. They do. Privatization or no privatization are nonsense. The scheme is in between, is within them. The whole scam is going on around them. You know, it should have been like citizen arrest. Everybody marching to everywhere they are. Arrest all of them. Tie their hands, tie their legs, put them inside pong pong, drive all of them together to the bar beach. and begin to issue their judgment on them. These are terrible people. Terrible people. That even you that is supporting them, you are not spared. You are not safe. You are not. Nigeria need this to stabilize their Naira. All Nigeria need is just to block the oil thieves so that every Nigerian can go online and know how much oil production is being produced from Nigeria. Who are those buying them? Easily. And by so doing, 80% of the lost or the resources, the revenue being lost in that regard will come back. And I mean, for real, but you know, they won't do that. Somebody said that they should have asked all these people that are bringing pipeline every left, right, and center to pump Nigeria crude oil across the Atlantic, that they should ask them to build refinery in Nigeria and the rest of that. They won't. They won't. So now Nigerians don't know this 3 billion. Meanwhile, NNPC with petrol is the one that is borrowing 3 billion, making oil for cash deal. This one is not oil swap. Do you understand what is called oil swap deal? That one is like, we will give you crude oil, okay? You will sell us diesel and petrol at this is agreed price, and you can keep everything else, okay? Oil swap. This one is oil for cash. Like I told you, NNPC Nigeria that has been bankrupted, where over 300 billion US dollars have been stolen in crude oil and the bogus subsidy in 8 years. This NNPC is broke. They want to use Nigeria crude oil to get cash that they want to give to their friends with the promise that petrol price will go down. Naira also will stable, but it won't. It won't. It is called Tinubunomics. You rob Peter to pay Paul. So you will be hoping. Let us pray for Nigeria. Let us be positive about Nigeria. At least let us show something that we love Nigeria. Because they told you that they are doing something to make it better, but they are not. They are not. So it's a scheme. It's a scheme. It's like they give you something with the back hand, and they cover it with the open hand as well, and like just like that, abracadabra. Then you'll be wondering, now, what happened to that? What they said they wanted to do now? Maybe they said that the price, it won't. So they will do it again and again and again. Now they are saying, oh, it's not that they are bringing back subsidy. Oh. It's not subsidy they are bringing back. Oh. They just want to stabilize Naira. Kilo coin NNPC. Pẹ̀lú Naira stabilization. NNPC is now central bank. Do you get the drift? Nigeria is so broke. Nigeria is so dollarless. Naira has sunk so badly that Central Bank of Nigeria, they couldn't see anybody to quickly give them money, cash. They need cash. So it was NNPC. It is now NNPC that want to stabilize Naira, and you believe them. You believe them. That's fine. A lot of you have believed a lot of things anyway. I have seen them explaining all of that on social media. This money, is that going to cost Nigeria? No, it's not a clinical. If you believe them, theater, pow. I have seen it before. Very, very many times. It is the same card. Now, Stockholm Syndrome, they make majority of you, they believe them. Stockholm Syndrome. You know? They said it was Stalin. Stalin, the former USSR leader. He assembled the people, the soldiers, and the rest of them. And he brought out a chicken, a live chicken. And he started pulling the feather. like that. And as he was pulling the feather, the chicken was like screaming, screaming in agony. Pulled everything. He pulled all the feather until the chicken became naked and still alive, bleeding. And immediately he dropped the chicken. The chicken ran away. Then he just dipped his hand in his pocket, brought out, some corn, and he started dropping the corn. And just like that, the chicken started picking the corn one by one, started walking back towards Sterling. As he kept dropping the corn, the chicken, started feeling alive, picking up the chicken. And then he faced the people and he told them, he said, torture, hardship, deliberate torture and hardship doesn't kill people. It breaks them. And once they are broken, they will become loyal. It will get to a stage whereby people who have suffered so much, they began to defend their oppressors. At a point, they will start blaming themselves. Say, why did he do this to you? Why did he beat you up like this? I see you bleeding. So, well, it's my fault. I provoked him. Sometimes, it's somebody who is hot-tempered. And because I provoked him, he said I should boil him water. And I forgot. So he became angry. That's why he beat me up. But he's a very good person, very, very good person. Because sometimes he will come around, he will increase my salary, and sometimes he will tell me to come inside and take the leftover of their family dinner. We are talking about real food, though, correct food. Sometimes he will come around and he will just buy clothes for my children. He's the one also paying the school fees of my children. He's a very nice person. It's just that, every time I make him angry, he always does that. It's my fault. And that's exactly what majority of you are suffering in Nigeria. You will defend them because they told you. They love you. They are doing all of this for you. You need to endure. You need to be patient. You need to give them time. But you are watching them filtering away your commonwealth, and you're still open. Stockholm syndrome. The one way. Stockholm. Was Stockholm not in Sweden? Shouldn't that be from Sweden? Anyway, it doesn't matter. Anyway, but the story I told you about Stalin is true. That's actually a true story. It's about how the oppressor controlled the mind of the oppressed. To the point that you just live in that submission. And that's exactly what these guys have done now. The LGBT is that they have managed to find the Genje that says, oh, we now have 3 billion. This 3 billion is going to stabilize the Naira. Because according to them, what will stabilize the Naira is that the moment those oil marketers and some of their friends can have access to the Forex of, dollars, which at the end of the day, Nigeria is going to lose over 2 trillion Naira, plus or minus. 2 trillion Naira of Nigeria money will be lost in what they are scheming, in what they are taking pictures for, in what the news are telling you right now. Or maybe the news is not telling you that. These guys are supposed to be arrested. I really wish they are. Look at him. Mele Kyari. And the guy be that. So that's them signing the deal. The deal that will give them $3 billion cash so that they can now give that dollars to oil marketers. And once the oil marketers have access to that dollars, they can begin to bring their fuel back to Nigeria. And you shouldn't worry. A petrol will not go beyond 600 Naira or 610 naira, and then you ask yourself, what is then subsidy? Like this guy was telling people. What if you don't get a name again? Eric Gilead is something.
Secondly, Mr. President wishes to assure Nigerians, following the announcement by the NNPC Limited just yesterday, that there will be no increase in the pump price of petroleum motor spirit anywhere in the country. We repeat, the President affirms that there will be no increase in the pump price of petroleum motor spirit. Secondly, Mr. President,
people will know they import anything though. People who say subsidy was gone though. Then they turn around and told you, and they are now telling you the pump price of PMS will not increase. How? That is subsidy, ladies and gentlemen. And that's exactly the new scheme. Do you know what $3 billion is in Nigeria exchange rate today? 9 times 3, 27. That is 2.7 trillion naira. You see, if they come out and they told you, we want to spend 2.7 trillion naira on subsidy, sure you no go scream? Would you sure you no go say, Lord, along? Hey, 2.7 trillion on subsidy again? Won't you scream like right now that you know? But they said NNPC borrowed $3 billion. They want to use it to stabilize Naira. How? Anyway, so the price of petrol will not increase. However, somebody cornered Oshiomole. You know, he is now Senator Oshiomole. Now, Senator Oshiomole came out and said, Tinubu inherited the worst economy from who? Yeah, I'm talking to you. You, Lagos Abobaku. You were weary. Yeah. Pick up your phone. Answer me. From who did Tinubu inherit the worst economy? From Mayegun? Abi African Wahala or who else? So, the same people who told you when Bokwari was there, they were dancing here and there. They said Bokwari, if not for Bokwari, Nigeria would have ceased to exist. This guy said it. They said Bokwari, that no matter what you are facing, that was when Bokwari was there. They said whatever you were facing, it would have been worse than that if not for Bokwari. Oshiomole, senator or senator. You should call them senators. Senator Oshiomole.
The government inherited a terrible economic situation. Everybody knows it. The government inherited an economy in which our total national revenue was barely enough to service our debt burden, spending 96%, which is to say every 96 kobo, every 100 naira Nigeria earned, 96 kobo is going to repay debts, to service debts. So you have only 4 kobo left to pay all the salaries. So nothing can be worse. But they came determined that they will have to do business unusual to arrest the drift, stabilize the economy.
See, do you see the kind of people that they call leaders? Stop insulting leaders, Mayegun. You need to stop insulting elders. I mean, don't you have home training? Is that the kind of elder that you say you are not, you are going to be respecting? People like Oshiomole, people that speak with all sides of their mouth, shameless people. Are those the leaders, elders? But thank God that we all know that foolish people also grow old. Stupid people grow old. Okay? Criminals also grow old. And therefore, we can even pretty much recognize them when we see one. People who speak with all the size of their mouth, say he's doing his best. What is that best now? Inherited the worst economy from who? Anyway, the time is all rounding up, you will say. So, Kolu, the Mr. Strategist, once said,
I don't want to sit here and reveal all my strategy. I am the first speaker among the three of us running. So they will spy on me. So you will have a limited answer here today. Another day you can bring me back. But that's part of what I do. I don't want to sit here and reveal all my strategy. I am the first speaker among the three of us running. So they will spy on me. So you will have a limited answer here today. Another day you can bring me back. But that's part of what I do.
We will work with you to build a Nigeria that is not corrupt. I bring you a message of hope.
We are going to spend a lot of resources on education.
We will work with you to build a
very sorry about the audio that keeps delaying and all that. It's going to be like that for now until it's going to get better. So please bear with me, okay? And I was thinking it was my laptop, but it wasn't. It's actually the streaming software that is having that kind of frozen and all that. So yeah, I'll get that. So yeah. Tinubu that won't tell you his strategy. I've started showing you the strategy. And just when we were about to go live, that was when the news came that Tinubu has announced his ministers. El Rufaya is currently in Beirut after he got kicked out, like that's what was presented, like got kicked out of the whole thing, right? But Werewike is now the FCT minister. I heard. I'll show you the list. So yeah, you have Minister of Culture, Musawa, Defense, Badaru. That former governor of Jigawa is the one they made the defense minister. So Minister of State, Matawale, former governor of Zamfara. Education, Junior Minister, Sunumu. Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Dangiwa. Then you've got, where is that Werewike again? Bagoloke, they say that's Northwest. 10 minister from Northwest, 7 minister from Northeast, and then you have Angon. So you have 6 or so, 8 ministers from 6 minister and then a 2 minister of state, like junior ministers from North Central. So do you see the name you recognize? So Southwest, 7 ministers. So Southwest with the highest number of ministers. So they've got, what do you have? Yeah, they've got 7 ministers, 2 minister of state. So do you see any name you recognize there? Bosunti Jani, economy, minister of communication, innovation and digital economy. Right. And then when you go to the southeast, they have 4 ministers and 1 junior minister. So Devaluation is your work minister. Who else is there that you know?